Mhm. Good evening. Happy Monday. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hi, good. Glad to be here. This is my
Good
first one
evening.
here. Happy New Year,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah. Happy New Year. Oh, yeah. This is your first show since the new year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, happy New Year and happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone.
Yes.
Right? And so I had to work, but for those of you who had a chance to celebrate, I hope you had a great day. So here we are again, another Monday, 8 p.m. on the New You Nation Network, the Woman to Woman Show. And we are here every Monday night at 8 p.m. to share from a Gen X experience, right? Our experiences and just talk about just life as a Gen Xer. Right. And so before we get started, we always like to introduce ourselves and say what we are grateful for. And so I'll start. I am Theodora Carter. I am a certified life coach. My mission is to empower women to transform their lives by navigating the obstacles and challenges that come up as they transition through life. And I am grateful. What am I grateful? I am grateful for so many things. I am grateful for waking up this morning. I am grateful, just to have the opportunity to be here tonight. I am grateful for you ladies. I am grateful for 2024 because I am believing it's going to be an amazing year.
Yes.
So that is what I am grateful for.
Amen.
Yes. I am Manetta Fields. I am the owner of Holistically Motivated LLC. This is where we take natural solutions and help you to embrace them in your daily lives. And I also have over 30 years of experience as a healthcare professional, which transitioned into the holistic perspective. I'm a certified coach using the Gallup Strengths to help us embrace the unique gifts that God gave us. Because we know when we show up as ourselves, we can be a blessing to everyone we touch. I'm
Mhm.
grateful for natural tools. And the reason I say that is I have a family member who got sick over the weekend, and we did not have to take one trip to nobody's CVS, nobody's Walgreens. We simply grabbed the tools that God made, and in 24 hours, He turned it around. So I'm grateful.
Nice. Nice. And last
Really.
but not least, Regina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Regina Booker, the owner of Season and Fabulous, where we help women get unstuck 50 plus, where we raised our kids, maybe looking into retirement, what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. Is it too late? No, it's not too late. So we can start
Mm.
our dreams, our hopes, whatever you want to do. It's never too late. So that is what we do over here. And I'm excited because we will be having our first retreat April 27th, a day before the celebrated holiday of my sister Theo.
Yes. Yes.
So the pre-celebration. And so I'm really excited about that because I am a woman of a certain age and my business got started in my 50s. So it's
Mm,
never too late.
yeah.
And I am
Nice.
grateful for just life in general and being able to wake up this morning. And I'm grateful for my word of thrive this year because I'm thriving and I'm also thriving with suddenly.
Mm,
Suddenly happen unexpectedly.
yeah. So you have to like. It's amazing because I picked two words this year too. I,
Hmm.
I think my words were execution and then, well, tension is my thing.
Hmm.
Um, Execution as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Netta, what's your words?
I don't generally choose a word. I yield to whatever it is God has for me in the year. And so I don't necessarily choose one, but usually it unfolds as the year goes on.
Mhm. And honestly, that's what happened to me through a sermon, because I didn't pick one. I
Mhm.
normally do, because at my church they have us pick one, and so I didn't. The Spirit didn't lead me. Nothing spoke to me, and the way not Christmas Eve, the way New Year's Eve fell on a Sunday, we didn't have service, so it was online, and I really didn't understand what the service was. So I went to church. So it wasn't really. I'm usually in church on New Year's Eve, bringing it in. So it was just a regular service. So I didn't think we were having it. So I just went online and found a service,
Mm.
tapped up on it, and Thrive was the word that they were talking about, and it resonated with everything. So that's how I got my word. And then today, a friend was talking, and she said suddenly, and it went back to a message that my pastor said, and that kind of, so that's how I came up with it. So
Wow.
it's like what you said, because things are suddenly happening.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, this is going to be, I really do think this is going to be like a suddenly year.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why tonight's topic is great, right? I think, the next 24, right? I think it actually aligns with a lot of the things that the three of us do and talk about, right? The strengths, right? Intention, and then, season and fabulous. Just it's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
So, Regina, I'm gonna turn this over to you, because you're going to tell us what the next 24 is all about, and then we can take it from there.
Well, I'm sure that my sister Ned is going to help me out,
Oh
because
yes, she's gonna drop some gems.
she's going to drop some gems, because I have to go to my notes, because this came from, I'm sorry, y'all, our audience, it's going to get churchy, because it came from churchy. And I'm happy to say, because we are all believers,
Mm-hmm.
and we are. So, no offense, but we are.
Yeah.
I believe what I believe. No, it is what it is. So it came from a message, the first message of the year, and it resonated so much. And what it came from Isaiah 27, 1-6. And Pastor was talking about expect the blessings, and in there will always, there will always be a fight in your life. You'll be fighting against the blessing, but don't give up on the fight. Like, don't give into the fight, because the blessing that comes. So they're always, toying against each other, and don't kind of give up on yourself and let it be, oh, I didn't do this, or I'm giving up, because you have another day. And don't forget about what you didn't do today, what you didn't accomplish today. You got another 24 hours. So there's always something new. And he broke it down to 24. He broke it down to, I tried to write all the notes.
He probably went down to the seconds,
right? You have in a day, how many he went into that. I was trying to write so fast, but that thing just read, and it was like, even in the next 24 seconds, the 24, he just kept breaking it down to just 24 of this, 24 of that, and it happens to be the 24 year, just
okay,
whole 24, but it had nothing to do with really the year. It just happens to be year 24, but we have 24 hours, and it's going to be in a fresh, a new, and that's what we have to do with life. What you're going to do in the next 24 seconds, what you're going to do in the next 24 minutes, what you're going to do at 3:24, what you're going to do at, I just broke it down all that way. Just don't think, just forget about what you have not done. Don't waste time.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? Like, we all get the same 24 hours in a day. I forget how many minutes it was, because at some point I did know the minutes, right? But at the end of the day, we all get that same time, which is why I'm so in tune to intention, right? Which is why
Mhm.
I literally, really do believe, like, every day when I get up, like, and here's the thing, right? That's why it goes together, because I
Mhm.
might not do everything I intend to do. So
Mhm.
that's where you give yourself grace, right?
Mhm.
But you just can't get up, pop out of bed, and just not have any plan or any intention for your day.
Right. Mhm.
Like, you have to be thinking about doing
Mhm.
something, which comes down to, right, knowing how you operate in your strengths.
Right.
This week,
Mhm.
I would say it was my pleasure, right, to be able to talk with Netta and one of her colleagues about my journey, which is still unfolding with
Mhm.
like strengths.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
now,
yeah, you would
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, I was just like what you said. You would have some down days, which equivalents to Jacob will take the root, but then you're gonna have an Israel purpose. So
Mm,
I was like, whoa! I had to go back and read that, and you just have to give in, like you said. And it has to be some consistency in your life. So you like write the plan, which I was listening to our famous uh, Trey Kearney this morning. I happened to hop on her, and she's like, write the plan. And
mm,
so everything is going in and make it simple. So it's just like don't make it complicated.
mm.
But like you said, just get up in the morning, just have intentions.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this, this, and this. But if you don't get it all done, don't worry about it. Don't fret it. You got another 24 hours. But
And don't try to do it all. Like,
right.
don't have a list of 20 things that you got to get done.
But yeah, make it attainable. Make it something that you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's that whole smart. Well, I'm a come. I mean, I use SMART goals because that's what we use
Mhm.
in HR, right? Like, we use that in the business world, but HR. But I
Right.
use that for my, like, specific, measurable, attainable, right? Realistic,
Right.
time based, right? But literally, I know when I started really being intentional about the things that I needed to do that align with the goals I had set, I was better able to achieve them,
Mhm.
right? Versus just getting up and not having a plan, not figuring out what I'm going to do today, right? Like, I mean, literally, I get up, I work out with my girls because we all work out together, right? Then, I got to get ready for work, right? Then I have certain things that, okay, today I need to get this done, right? But what I had to learn is not to try to get 5 things done
Mhm.
in one day, right?
Right.
Because those 24 hours go quickly.
Right.
Because part of those hours, 8 of them, and what I'm trying to get to 8, at least 6 of them, 6.5, I'm sleeping,
Yeah.
right?
You gotta rest. You gotta rest.
Yeah, I pulled up a couple of quotes.
Mhm.
One of them is from Steve Jobs, and
Mhm.
he said, "My favorite things in life don't cost any money. It's
Mm,
very clear that the most precious resource we all have is time." And
Right.
we know that he didn't anticipate not having a long time on Earth,
yeah.
but it's important to remember there is an end date. We don't know when it is.
Mhm.
So time is a very valuable resource and we don't want to waste it, right? We want to make sure we're accomplishing what God has assigned our hands to do in that time. There's rest associated in that time, as you just said, because
Mhm.
you can't pour from an empty vessel. We hear that all the time, but some people do. And I have to tell you, it's a process for me because I have achiever as one of my strengths. And that means that I am very satisfied with being extremely productive in my day, sometimes to a fault. So with even with strengths, you have a positive side of it and you have a side that's not so positive. So being aware of who you are, how you operate, how you show up. But the main thing is time, being aware that we all have the 24 hours, like you mentioned. The second quote I wanted to share is under the subject plan your day, as you all just spoke about. And it's from someone by the name of Tony Morgan. And it says, you get to decide where your time goes. You can either spend it moving forward, which you already talked about, or you can spend it putting out fires. You decide. And if you don't decide, others will decide for you.
Yep.
And so I think it's important to remember that we have to, just like we assign or give our dollars an assignment, we have to give our minutes an assignment, or we lose them. They are no longer an investment. We lose them.
Yep. I mean, it's so important, and you know, it's funny because my number one, my top five, right? Number one is achiever, right? Number five is arranger, right? And so it's crazy because I didn't even really realize it until I was talking to Netta and her colleague, right? And how the two of them kind of complement each other, right? Because my dominant strength is execution, right? Or executing, right? And so for me, I have to really be aware of, you know, how I'm spending those 24 hours, because I have the, I can easily sit and work for probably the bulk of those 24 hours, right? Which is not good, because you do need to, like, you know, when I work with clients, like I'm trying to really get them first the mindset shift. So I will tell you, I start my day with gratitude. When I wake up, on my wall, there's a decal that says, you know, go through your day believing that something wonderful is going to happen, right? And then I sit and I say a thank you, whatever. But it's so important for me to be intentional about what I have planned, because otherwise I could be just absorbed all day long if I don't have an intention about, all right, you're going to work out at this time, right? Because that's connected to your health goal, right? You're going to make sure I'm trying to get into food prepping, right? Because that's connected to what I put in my body, right? You know, then I got to work. And then you're going to shut it down. Like I literally told my friends that I work out with on a Peloton that this year, like I set 9 to 9 as my time to work, right? Because I have my 9 to 5 and then my business. And I had to do that because otherwise I would be here till 1 a.m. working, right?
Yep. I am getting better with planning my day. As an entrepreneur, you know that your day switches on a dime. And so you can have a framework, and sometimes it just doesn't necessarily work out that way. That's why it's good to have a plan, but not so rigid that you can't move things around. But here's the most important piece to me of my plan. It's Proverbs 16:3. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So I can have ideas and thoughts of what I think should happen in a day. But ultimately, that's why I yielded. It was what I started with. My plans are subject to change based upon what God has ordained for that day. And I have to be open to understand what it is He wants me to do. Of course, it's not just sitting back with my eyes shut saying, Lord, show me what to do all day. That's not it. But you can feel the nudge. You know when direction needs to change if you're in tune with God in that way. And so I just wanted to point out, for me, ultimately, my goal is to please God with the time He blessed me with. He's the author of time. And if He doesn't authorize me to have the time, it's going to be a problem. So I want to honor Him with that.
But that's important, right? Because that comes down to what I talked about, like that arranger, right? That arranger is the flexible side of me, right? So like you just said, I could have my whole day planned out. But if something happens, if I get a phone call or something and I have to transition, you have to be able to transition, which is why grace is so important within those 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
So like, because if you don't give yourself grace, like I had said to Netta, right? I am very flexible with other people. I had to learn how to be flexible with myself. Right? And that's key.
Now I had to learn, like, you guys, I was thrown into this whole retirement by losing my job, which was a blessing. So I'm learning
Say
to,
that again to somebody out here that's afraid to lose their job, right?
yeah, but which really totally was a blessing because that's what God had planned for me. Because I had planned my whole retirement. Well, I'm going to do it at and he's like, no, little girl, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And it ended up working out because I truly wasn't ready for it. I didn't have things in order, but he knows the plans that he has for you.
Mm-hmm. Jeremiah 29:11.
And I, did the work through faith. Like Netta said, I didn't sit back and close my eyes. I did the work and researched and, did the steps and got to it. Was it easy all the time? No. Was I scared? Yes. But I worked through it. So now my new life is that I have to show discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So I choose discipline. I Instead of just kind of roaming around, I have to learn to put my time somewhere, which is I'm working on, which is I'm getting really good at it, because I had a lot of not idle time. Well, kind of not idle. I had to replace the 9 to 5 with doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think now suddenly things are coming in place because I wasn't able to really work on the business like I wanted to. Like, suddenly I got things in order. Like all of a sudden things was just happening that I kind of pitter pattered on out of nowhere.
But something, and I'm a true believer of this, right? That sometimes God is like, I need you to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't give you this. I can't give you what I have for you if you keep holding on to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so, and that's why, yeah, we listen, I'm sure there are many of us who are not prepared, me being one, right? Like, not to where we think we need to be, right? But the thing is, if we keep waiting till we're prepared, will we ever really live and work in the purpose that God has designed for us, right?
Well, with that, Theo, that is a self-imposed thought process, the preparation and also stepping out of our lane. Are we really trusting God if we got to be in complete control?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And so that those are the things like Regina already warned you guys. So we're not trying to offend anybody, but this is a rich conversation because this is the reality, right?
Yeah.
For those of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for us, and and for anyone who's not a believer, I will tell you, you can take everything we're saying and you can apply it to the practical, right? You can apply it to the practical because it still will work in the practical. But for us, what leads our lives, right? Our mandate, our instruction manual is the word of God, right? And so a lot of what we do, we listen, we're still probably works in progress as well, but a lot of what we do is tied to trying to be obedient, right? So that we can move the way he would have us to move. And so that's why for me, it's I always have to stop and think, because I know when I had a situation and my friend was like, oh, do you still think that was God? And I was like, yeah, I do think that was God. I think God put this thing or person in my life so I could learn a lesson, right? And then he removed it, right? Because there was another lesson to be learned, right? And then that, helped me evolve into my purpose. But the reality is sometimes we hold on so tight to stuff. The guy's like, I can't really bless you with what I really have for you because I need you to let this thing go. It's standing in your way.
Yeah, you're blocking yourself so you can't hear from God. So you're holding on so tight, he can't get through.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was wondering, Regina, when you were talking about discipline, what does that look like for you, and how did you arrive at this place of discipline if it wasn't there before?
Um, I guess is discipline and obedience the same thing? Because I was just so worried and scared
Mm.
about trying to make this plan for my life, and you kind of know I was unhappy, but not knowing I was unhappy. If that
Mm.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
In my present job, with my last job, I mean, it didn't. I didn't bother, but God was telling me it was time to go, and He had me in a little bit in my head. I didn't really know what to do, um, and I didn't pray about what to do. I was
Mhm.
just trying being me, thinking I could figure it out. And what do I know?
So what does discipline look like for you now? Because you're like,
Now discipline is I sit, I wait, I pray, and I ask God to lead, God, and direct me. And as I go through my day, I hear from Him. And if I know, like today, um, order my business, I'm kind of a QVC, was it QVC? Not QVC.
I was gonna say they still got QVC.
Is that it? The shopping show, QVC?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. Because I always get acronyms mixed up. Yeah, QVC. So I woke up and I know I need a new computer.
Mm.
I have to discipline myself. So the old Regina would have just jumped up, working now, working. And that's how I figured out I got myself in such a bundle. This is a perfect example. Oh, next week I'll get this check, so I'll order this and then I'll figure it out.
Mhm.
Now I had to buy tires for my car, and I got a credit card with 0% interest if I paid it off in 6 months. So I've been digitally paying it off. So I have 2 more months to pay it off. But I do need a new computer. They had a great deal. You can get this. And I sat up and I said, mm, I said a little prayer. I thought about it. It came to me. You have 2 more months to pay off those tires. You cannot put this in your budget right now. Another deal will come by. That's how discipline comes. I had to talk to the Father first because the old me would have just, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to figure out. And then that's how I was figuring out getting myself financially messed up because I had a job and thinking that paycheck was going to come every 2 weeks. No.
But I'm so glad you mentioned that because I will tell you, I think so many people, right, are, I don't want to say stuck, right? But
Mhm.
in that space that you just spoke about earlier, right? Like with going to a job every day, right? And you're
Mhm.
there and you're showing up and you're working for God. So you're showing up correct.
Mhm.
But somewhere in the back of your head, you like, if I could be anywhere else, I would be there, right?
Mhm.
And the thing that ties you to this 9 to 5 is the security, or what you think is the security of
Mhm.
that weekly check. But then
Mhm.
what we forget about is when we lack that discipline, right?
Mhm. And you
That
know what?
weekly check could go away when we don't
Mhm.
really, when we least expect it to.
Right. And in working with, being retired, and as my cousin said, "Oh, you're getting the old people's check now." I'm like, "What is that?" I was like, "What's the old people's check?" And she said, "That retirement check you get once a month." I said, "Oh." But guess who's saving more money now?
Discipline. You have um, financial discipline as discipline in your decision making.
Again, yeah. And so the answer to Netta's question, right, for people who may have missed,
Did
right?
I answer it, Netta? Did I?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
because Netta's question was, what does discipline look like for you? So for
Mhm.
people that are just coming in, first of all, this is the Woman to Woman show
Mhm.
on the New You Nation Network, and we are women of a certain age. We are Gen X's, and we come together every Monday night just to have real talk about real life experiences. And today you have really caught us in a real life experience. With the topic is the next 24, right? Like, what are you going to do in your next 24 hours? But one of the things that just came out of there to Regina from Netta was, what does discipline look like for you? And discipline for Regina now, right, we have is financial discipline, right? And what was the other one, Netta?
Decision making, discipline in her decision making,
right? And so for people who are out there that you're struggling with wondering what is discipline, right? Because we define discipline as being one thing, right? But there are so many areas of your life that require discipline, right?
Yeah.
And so when you begin to build your toolkit, right, you begin to think, you begin to say, what are the priorities in my life? What are the things that align with my values, right, and the vision for my life? And then you build your toolkit around those things.
Right.
And so for most of us, especially the three of us, because we're entrepreneurs, right? As you know, I still do a little bit of a 9 to 5, right? I do a 9 to 5, but at the end of the day, you know, we're all entrepreneurs. So how we manage we manage our finances and how we make decisions is important. And that's where that discipline really is key.
Right.
Yeah, to define discipline, it says to train or develop by instruction and example, especially self-control. It's more about learning self-control. That's one of the fruit of the spirit. That's how we know if it's there. If we have the spirit, we got to have some fruit. And control or temperance is one of the fruit. So some fruit ripens faster than others. And some stays green for a while. But just having the mindset and the understanding, the awareness that something needs to be different if I'm going to arrive at the goal, whatever the goal is in the 24. You've got to have some steps in place to arrive at that thing. It doesn't just happen. Self-control has to be part of it. And self-control is huge. The discipline we're talking about, you know, in your day, you have to discipline yourself for the goals that you're wanting to achieve. You got to discipline yourself for the time it's going to take to achieve it. You got to discipline yourself for the fuel that you use in your body to accomplish the goals that you need to accomplish, because your body's got to have energy, your brain's got to have energy. So it's a lot of decision making that gets us to the place of the next 24. That decision determines whether we arrive at our goals or not, whether we're even taking a baby step toward that goal or not. That decision sometimes is difficult.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel unequipped to make that decision. But that's why we're here having this conversation, because we want you to understand that we need each other.
Yeah.
We all have different experiences in life. I mean, look at Regina. She's at the retirement phase. I'm not there yet, but I can glean from the nuggets she's given me, some things that I can start thinking about now. So when I get there in whatever that 24 is, however many 24s it takes.
but that's the key too, right? Because we don't know how many 24s we have left, right? And so that's why it's important to, because when you were talking about Steve Jobs, the one thing that popped in my head was, right, this man didn't even know the legacy that he was going to leave, right? Because he didn't know how many 24s he had, but he did a lot with his 24s, right? And so, but that took, you know, that probably took some planning, that probably took discipline, right? Definitely, I'm sure financial discipline, but I think self-control is key, right? Because like you said, Regina, right? We can, because I know I had to really train myself not to do this. I could convince myself of doing doing something in a minute, right? But it takes discipline to convince yourself not to do something that you know you shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Or something that you really want to
What
do.
to do. Exactly.
Just because you want to do it doesn't mean you should.
Right.
So that's where discipline comes in. Instead of pulling that goal, let's go, hit the go button.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta stop and reflect. Okay, you having a plan helps you get your ideas and your thoughts together, get yourself in line.
Right.
If you said you got 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
you knew that's a plan that
Right.
you have. That's a
Mhm.
goal that you have. And knowing that helps you in determining, all right, is this decision wise? Am I using the resources that God gave me in a way that honors him if I go do this thing, or is it just gratification?
Right.
It's a temporary thing, but it's okay. Just like he is the owner of what gave you the resources to pay for those tires, he
Mm-hmm.
do the same
Mhm.
with the computer. It's just
Right.
you got to wait on him and not,
Right.
okay, I got
Mhm.
it. I
Mhm.
figured out.
Yep. And when that time comes, it'd be a better sale, a better deal.
I mean, but you also like it's so important to have that discipline. But the other thing I heard you say, right, without you even saying it, is it took a mindset shift,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of people don't understand, and that's why I talk a lot about mindset too, right? Because it starts up here.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with getting past the fear, the doubt, the insecurities, right? The can I do it, right? This is going to be too hard, right? Oh, I don't know if I can, right? It starts with what's going on up here, right?
Mhm.
That growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right? And so without you even saying that, like you said it, you were like, I had to sit back and think about, right? Like you had to shift your mindset. You had to be like, you know what? Yeah, like the old Regina would have been like, okay, I'm going tomorrow to get this computer. The new
Push that button and worry about how they get paid.
right? But the new Regina was like, okay, I got this credit card. I had 6 months. I got 2 more of those 6 months. I'm gonna do that. But you even said budget,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how and so I think this is such a great topic because
Mm-hmm.
what are we like? I want people to stop and think. What are you doing with your next 24?
Mm-hmm.
And how does that next 24 align with whatever that one thing what's the biggest thing people come into the year?
They're
What?
gonna start working out, eating
Right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, let me just get on that.
Yeah. February come around. The
Right?
gyms is off.
Exactly. January come around, the gyms are crowded. February
Yeah.
come around, there's nobody. Or a little bit. So how do you for the person out there that is saying they came into this year and their goal is to work out, right? Resolution, but I don't really like resolutions, but that goal is to work out, right? What are you going to do in the next 24 hours? I want you to just write down, think about it tonight. What are you going to do in the next 24 hours to get you closer to the gym?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have to even decide about whether or not I'm gonna work out in the gym, or am I gonna find a free YouTube thingy to do in the house, or am I just gonna make my gym be a walk every day? What's your plan for that goal? Recognizing and see, this is something I always tell my clients. I want you to make the plan, but alongside on the next column, I want you to list what are the possible challenges and obstacles that might get in the way. All right. Because if you don't list those and you're not kind of prepared for them, you stall when they come up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's planning for the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of planning. Planning is not a wish list.
Mm-hmm.
Some people do that. Oh, I want this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. No, that's kind of not what we're talking about. What's important to you,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you plan to accomplish or
Mm-hmm.
arrive at that thing that's so important to you? And you were saying, like people planning for the gym in January or working out, eating differently, whatever the case may be. Is that truly something you desire to do?
Right.
That's
Some people, well, it sounds good, and this is what a lot of folks do. So I'm going to do it too. No.
mm-hmm.
Why is it important to you? What makes you hold true to that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to have challenges. Like you were saying, what do you plan to do when that challenge comes? It's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
And so it's an anchor. What's your anchor to the like? What's your anchor? Why? Like for me, I like working out, right? I do, but also for me right now, I got 2.4 years, 2.4, right? Because I'm saying 2 years and maybe 4 months, right, to 60, right? So I want to be at optimal, like I want to be in the best shape that I could be when I hit my 60s, right? Like I want to, because longevity is in my family, and if God is as kind to me as He's been to my 99-year-old aunt, right, right, I want to be healthy, and so for me, movement is important, but also I like it because it's an escape for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, and so what's your why? Like, don't go to the gym because you see 10,000 other people going to the gym. If it's not something that you like to do, like Netta said, right? Maybe you want to take a dance class because you like dancing.
mhm.
Or
This is
maybe,
what you're actually going to do.
yeah. And you could do something as simple as decluttering your house. I did not knowing that I was going to go into this service on January 7th. I think that was the first Sunday of the year. Um, but I had made up my mind. I had my office in a disarray. I said, I am not going to go into 24 with this office looking like this. And my office has been in a disarray, I'll be honest, for like 4 years. Because I would just and I would just kind of make room over here and do something. And I just looked, and it was not a resolution. I just kind of got sick and tired. I said, you know what? And guys, I do substitute teach, and I had that whole week off. So that's another thing. I chose to do something with my time.
Yep.
So I said, I'm going to make my office comfortable, and I got this whole week off. So I'm going to go declutter this little office up here. And I did. And the first day I kept looking at it, I'm like, oh. I go back downstairs, I to tell the truth. And the second day I went, oh. Because it was just overwhelmed. I didn't know where to start. So then the third day I said, you know what? And I got my grandson. I said, you come in here. And so we just started going, and then it went fast. And so from there, I just went throughout the house. And then there was pictures that had been sitting around. I never put them on the wall. I just put a picture on the wall. It just made me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I just went to just around the house. And then that sermon came. So I felt like still God was preparing me before I got the sermon, because I had no idea. And that just kind of gave me a push,
I like your strategy, Regina, was a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
I think that is something for us to consider.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, you choose a time and do that thing for that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Walk around your house for 5 minutes. Walk around your house for 10 minutes. Do it 3 times a day, and you got your 30 minutes in. It's not. It doesn't have to be a all or none.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit at a time does make an impact. Okay, so I'm going to give you a really practical application to this.
Mm-hmm.
When we fix our plate, let's just say Thanksgiving. Let's look at like that. That's a
Mhm.
big, right? You have all of that stuff on your plate. If you had to do it in one swallow, how would you feel?
You.
Nobody looks at their plate that way.
Mhm.
You're doing it a little bit
At
at
a
a
time.
time.
Mhm.
I don't know why that doesn't carry over for some of us into other areas of life,
Mhm.
but that is so key.
Mhm.
Lose 1 pound at a time, gain 1 pound at a time. Whatever your goal may be, it's the little things
Mhm.
that make a difference. If you want to go somewhere, your car is outside. There are some steps that you
Mhm.
have to take to go somewhere.
Yep.
Mhm.
So whatever your goal is, that's where you're headed. That's where
Mhm.
you're going. That's your end spot. That's where you're going to end up at. But
Right.
you gotta take the little steps to get there. So maybe
Exactly.
you just dial it back, boil it down to its simplest form.
Mhm.
I do this for
It has
five
to be manageable.
Mhm.
5 minutes a day.
Right.
By the time I get to the 24, look
Mhm.
how much further I'm gonna be.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, it's like the 1 pound. Like when I was a Weight Watchers leader, that's to tell my members. If you lose 1 pound every week, you lost 52 pounds in a year.
Mhm.
If you lose a half a pound, that's 26. Right?
Yeah.
Just figure out, or you lose 5%
Mhm.
weight at a time, right? But people are like, oh, I need to lose 70 pounds. You're
Mhm.
setting yourself up for failure. Because
Yep.
every time you look at that 70 number, oh my God, I can't make it.
Mhm.
But if you say I'm gonna lose 5% at a time, and then after the 5%, I'm gonna do another one, or you just say, I'm gonna lose a half a pound a week, right? But you might lose a pound a week,
Mhm.
which makes you really happy. But at the end of the year, if you're consistent,
Yep.
Mhm.
you drop 52 pounds.
That's the
Right.
word.
Consistency.
So we've got discipline.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, we got a plan.
yeah.
We've got discipline. We've got consistency. All
Right.
of those things, when we look at the goals we've not achieved for whatever the reason, something happened with those three.
Mm-hmm. And we got mindset.
And
Right.
mindset. Yep. You got to want to change. You got to be aware what the change needs to be. And then you don't have to have everything figured out. Just
No.
be small.
Yeah. And so now as we build the next 24, right? Like, what does your next 24 look like? Right.
Right.
So we're not going to tell you, we can't tell you what your next 24 looks like.
Mhm.
We don't know what your vision for your life is. Or now, if you want some help, reach out to Netta, reach out to me, reach out to Regina, right? And we
Mhm.
can help you. But here's the reality: the thing that we can say to you are the things that you need to include as you come up with your next 24 is it's going to involve your mindset, it's going to involve a plan, it's going to involve discipline, and it's going to involve consistency. And it's
Exactly.
going to involve grace.
Mhm.
Because you know what? When you fall off the wagon or you don't do something, you got to be as kind to yourself as you would be to someone else.
Mhm.
So you could call it grace or you could call it kindness. But those so far, those are the 5 things that is going into the next 24 for us.
Yeah.
And I think we just built our list, right?
Yes.
That's definitely what happened to me. So, as we discovered today, not even knowing that's what I did, but thank you, Dr. Netta and and Coach Theo.
But you know, but that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of. So the other thing I would say for me in the next 24 is accountability, right?
Mhm.
Because I do have like I have a group of friends. It's like 5 of us who we started working out last July, right, together. And after the first 4 weeks, or first 12 weeks, we were like, oh, this is great. Let's keep doing it, right? Let's keep doing it. So now we came into the new year still doing it, right? And so in the morning, my phone is on do not disturb, right? But I would look and see who's in the group. And there's always somebody that say, hey, who's ready, right? And then you be like, I'm putting on my shoes, right? Or I'm putting on this, right? And then what do? We start our workout, right, for the day, right? So another thing for me in my next 24 that I'm going to add to the list that I just made is to remember to have that person, right, that's going to hold me accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And don't dishonor the 24.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Start out not with the decision, I'm not going to dishonor the 24. I'm going to use them wisely.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And add self-care into the 24. Like you
exercise, whatever. Yeah.
Rest and for me, when I say self-care, for me, it really is outside of it's rest. Because remember, I was the one I would get like 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't really function, like you can only go so long like that. Like you need your body needs rest for so many reasons, right?
For sure.
For your mind, right? For you to have clarity or whatever, but also for your body.
Your immune system is under attack if you're not rested.
Exactly.
It's not going to perform the way it's designed to if you don't get proper rest, which, who wants to be sick?
Yeah.
And I can attest to that because I will tell you, like it doesn't happen anymore. But years ago, I knew God would be like, all right, little girl, you don't want to sit down? You don't want to sit down? Like, I don't get sick regularly, but when I did, it would be an illness where I literally I had no choice but to stay in the bed, right? Like the flu, or one time I got like a kidney infection, right? Like it would be like major stuff, right? But that was a signal that I needed to take better care of myself when it came to resting and stopping and being still.
Mm-hmm.
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 Yeah.
So
That would happen to me too. But now I wouldn't necessarily get sick. Something crazy would happen in my life, and I would have to sit, and he would be sitting me down like, you need to sit down, because I'm a server, and I would find that I was serving too many people.
Yeah. One of the things in respecting and getting more out of the 24 is your ability to determine when to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Adding that to the list. Look at this, man. We have a whole list.
You got to be able to say no.
Yes. So I know that now. I can honestly say, no, I'm not adding that to my plate. And sometimes people look at me sideways, but
that's their eyes. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. Used to me saying I would do it, and I'm like, no, I'm no longer saying that.
But I think, what's great for me, like as you ladies are talking, right? You're validating, right? Like the program I created makes sense, right? Because my program includes all of these components: mindset, discipline, planning, accountability, right? Self-care, right? And then Netta getting me together with the strengths.
It's how you do these things.
So, right. And so that's another thing that I would say, like, for anybody that's out there, right, that is really trying to figure out what that next is for them in their next 24, you might want to reach out to Netta. Netta, tell them how they can find you to do the strength assessment.
Sure. You can email me at manettafields.com. That's the best way to reach me, whether you want natural solutions or help with learning how you show up for yourself and others, because there is a roadmap for that. But also, Theo, thanks for that. I wanted to share. You mentioned putting your phone on do not
Oh
disturb.
yeah. Oh my God, that's
So
my
that
thing.
is a practical tip that we can all start to utilize when we are working on that thing
Mhm.
that needs to be accomplished in our 24. When we are actively working on that, there's not phone time. Just put it on do not disturb so that you can remain focused and get it done. Because the sooner you get it done, the sooner you can move forward and enjoy the other 24 that we are prayerful the Lord allows us to see.
Mhm.
Yep. And my do not disturb is literally from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Right. So that ensures that I can prepare to rest, because that's my thing, to try to make sure I'm getting to bed at a certain time. And then it gives me time in the morning to work out, pray, whatever, routines I have in the morning. Gratitude, I practice gratitude, right? And it gives me time to get my head together. But I will tell you, whatever your time frame is, you do that. It's important to have that do not. And I probably have it set where, like, there are only two people that could get past that, and my cousin and my sister. Like, if they're, but other than that, But Netta, what you said is monettafields.com.
Manetta at manettafields.com.
Okay. Monetta.
And also, I have this little graphic here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Can you see it? No.
No.
So, but it's 4 squares: urgent, not urgent; important, not important.
Mm.
That's how you can decide what goes on your calendar, what order it should be done in. So, under urgent and important, that's a do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Under important and not urgent, you get to decide and schedule it. Under urgent, not important, you delegate. If
Mm.
it's not important for you to do it and it's not urgent for you to do it, you can delegate that either to your 24 for what 24 minutes that you've set aside to just catch up
Mm-hmm.
on things. And then there's a not urgent, not important. It says delete it. If it's not urgent, it's not
Not
important.
important.
How are you doing it?
Mhm.
And you know what's so crazy is, I just on my, was it last Monday? I can't. Or was it, no, Friday? I got on the phone with Trey. I don't know if you saw my thing, and I was like, supposed to talk to her about one thing, but my day was crazy, and I was like, I need to transition. I got, and we started talking, and there was something that I was like, I'm gonna do, and she was like, why?
Mm.
And I was like, what, and it came off. Well, it came off in the way that it came off of my list in the way that I had it, right? But that's so important that you said that, because sometimes you do have to say, does this thing really need to be a part of my plan or my
Mhm.
next 24, right?
Mhm. And I'm thinking in 24-minute increments,
Mhm.
because small bites.
Yeah.
Right.
4-minute increments, not necessarily the full 24, because that alone stalls some people.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So just break it down. Oh, we gotta wrap up, y'all. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it was such a good conversation, right? Which is why we're like, oh my God, because here's the reality. Like, one, you got a free little coaching session, right? But also, this is important because we're what, January 15th?
Mhm.
And this is around the time when some of you are still really like rah, rah, rah.
Mhm.
You are losing the steam, right? And so this is and this is going to be my final word for the night, right? This is your charge to take a step back and think about the next 24. And like Netta said, are you breaking it into 24 minutes? Are you breaking it into 5 minutes? But whatever you decide to do, remember, these are some of the components, and you may come up with more. You have to have a plan. Well, it's mindset, plan, there's discipline, there's consistency. You have to be kind, so give yourself grace. Find an accountability person, and boundaries. And if you need
Mhm.
help and you want to figure out what your strengths are, Monetta at monettasfield.com. if you are a woman of a certain age and you're like, listen, I can't do this, you want to reach out to Regina, Seasoned and Fabulous, because she will tell you that you can. And I am Theodora Carter 428, Instagram and Facebook. But that's my final word, ladies.
I think that was a perfect recap. I guess my only point that I would drive home is that a baby step is still a step.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my final point always is never too late.
Mm-hmm. So listen, we taking. It's not too late for you to take some. That's it. It's not too late for you to take some baby steps.
Yes.
Right. In 2024. So thank you for joining us tonight on the Woman to Woman show on the New You Nation Network. If you have not done so, please hit the like button and please also subscribe so you will not miss not only our show, but there are tons of shows on the New You Nation Network that are positive and provide great information and insight. And so we are going to close out by saying good night the way we normally say it, which is truth plus transparency
equals healing.
Good
Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.